Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome back to the OWLS Racing League here for Season 6. We head to round 3 this season. Head over to one of the Italian circuits on the F125 calendar, and that is of the historic Imola circuit. It should be quite an interesting evening tonight. Course, are we going to see 3 in a row for Pesant, or are we going to see somebody else finally hit the front of the field? All will be answered tonight. Who comes out on top here in Imola, of course, just outside San Marino. Talking about Pesant's domination so far, let's have a look at the drivers' standings. Of course, my name is Max Ring. I did not mention that. I'll be taking you through all the action this evening. Let's hope we do have a cracking race ahead of us. But talking about that drivers' championship, as you can see, it's Pesant. He is on the very, very top. 50 points clear. Then is followed closely by Anto Campus, and then it's Ben Cook in 4th. He's on 25 points, the same with Ben actually so far. Then it is Shefton, who is in 5th on 20 points. Will Smooth in 6th with 12. And then we have Jamers 7th, Andy in 8th, Liam 54 in 9th, Alex Hayho in 10th. Joker, Jack Reynolds, F1 Raw, rounding out your point scorers, and you can see Scrappy down in 15th place. It should be quite an interesting evening ahead of us. Drivers nearly ready to head trackside to this magnificent racing facility, which of course will not feature on the 2026 calendar. A big shame. Hopefully it will come back in real life soon. What could be one of the final times that this circuit gets run here in the OWLS Racing League. Send it off in a high. As you can see, of course, Pesant with a 14-point advantage. Is he going to be able to hold on to that come at the end of the evening? Or are we going to see somebody else take over that top spot? Even though he's won the first 2 rounds, it still is actually rather close in that battle for the champion lead. Let's quickly have a look at the circuit we're racing at tonight. Then it's 4.909 kilometers or 3.050 miles, 13 turns. Venue 1 DRS zone, that it is down the main straight. Detection is just after the Variante Alta. Heading down into the Ravazza is a real big overtaking opportunity. The same with, of course, the Tamburello chicane and Tosa 2, turn 7. They are the real overtaking hotspots. You could potentially get one done into Acqua Minerale if you're brave enough, if you get a good enough run out of the Piratella. But crucially for us, and what everybody wants to see, as the drivers, they are just heading trackside now, so we shall head over there now so you can see exactly what will unfold throughout this session. I'm out on top. So as we see the pit lane, seamless transition there, but we'll see who comes out first. It's 18 of qualifying. If see any big shocks in this session. So who is going to dare to come out first? Of course, drivers will be getting on their setups, making sure they are good to go. They'll be heading out onto the circuit, of course, as well in qualifying. Run minimal fuel as well, so some setups have fuel pre-saved. Turn that down ever so slightly. So we first driver out on the track looked to be a Red Bull, and that of potentially Muist. Yes, it is of Muist as he now heads down into the Tamburello chicane in that lovely Suzuka liveried Red Bull. Be the first driver to set a competitive lap time in this session. Will it be a good enough benchmark to see himself at the top for quite some time? On this warm-up, that's just taking things nice and easy. Doesn't want to overstep it ever so slightly. I say that he's dipped a tyre into the gravel. See what this lap can bring. All about the XLR Ravatsas to give you a good start onto your first flying lap in your first attempt. So here we are then, out of that final Ravatsa, now heading up to the start-finish line and to start the first flying lap of qualifying here this evening, heading down into the Tamburello chicane with the DRS Open braking just as the curb starts down to 4th gear. Isn't able to take as much of the inside apex curb as possible as we now head through the Villeneuve chicane again, just a little bit hesitant through there, not seeming to be able to find the grip or time he needs so far, and a little bit of a slide through Toza. Now heading up into Piratella, an easy invalidation hotspot if you run wide, but nicely done through there, a little bit wide from the apex. They was able to keep it clean, and that could be crucial in qualifying, especially here at Imola. So easy to invalidate wide again at Aqua Minerale. Got it wrong on the out lap, got it wrong on the actual main lap. So really starting to struggle with that part of the circuit. Through the Valiante Alta, nice and easy through there. Of course, this is a banker for most of these drivers, and they will be looking to just bring this one through and just hold on nicely on these first attempts to get something on the board. Here comes Hughes to the line. It's a 17.5 from the Red Bull driver. Next, I think, could be one of the Mercedes cars. It's not going to be one of the Mercedes, actually. Panda's just started a lap time. Agent is pushing on, and so is as well, I think that's Joker on a lap time. Yes, it is Joker on a lap time, heading through the two Ravatsas. Up to the line comes the McLaren. Then what's it going to be? DRS Open. And he goes to the top of the time by 2.5 seconds nearly. Spectacular lap time there from Joker. Next is going to be, I think that's Ben starting his attempt. Yes, it is. And it's one of the Alpines. Agent coming to the line goes third fastest. What about MPA? He's not on a lap time at the moment. Liam goes up to second, closely followed by the special one. Still about 1.5 seconds down on Joker, so a real big advantage so far for the McLaren driver. Aid Power is on a lap time, closely following Joker's teammate. He's actually backed off, so we'll have a look at Harvey LFC. Of course, Joker's teammate in this one seems to be not using any of the batteries, so could just be setting up to go again, and that certainly is what it looks like. A 17.7 with all that battery in the tank. Going to be looking to try and get a proper lap time on the board next time around. Panda coming up to the line. What can he do? Doesn't find a proper lap time. I think actually invalidated that one as well. So he's going to be looking to improve a little bit later down the line. Thames is just coming through the Piratella. We'll keep an eye on what they can do. That is actually invalidated and aborted the lap. I'm hearing, actually, there is some rain on the way. Not sure if it's in this session or in the race. As actually Dare went up into second place while that was going on. But I'm hearing there is some rain at some point, so that could be interesting to see. Here comes Liam. What can he do as he now heads up to the start-finish line? It'll be DRS Open. And goes quickest of all, a 14.5. A spectacular lap time there from Liam. Puts him 6 tenths clear of Joker, who we thought had the upper hand for quite some time. And there actually goes Harvey up into 4th. So I said Harvey was certainly on a lap that he wasn't going to improve from. and instantly went up into 5th place. So nicely done there. Rory, I think, is on a lap time. Yes, he is through the Piranzella, but runs wide. Unfortunately there for Rory to run that far wide. Panda now goes up into 3rd. Oh, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Bring that up, but Snoop Panda up into 3rd. Lovely stuff there. We'll head back over to Rory as he now makes his way down into the 2 Ravazzas. Scrappy is currently 10th fastest on a 17.8. That Ferrari's just gone up to that, of course, 10th place spot. Here comes Rory to the line. What's this going to be for the Haas? Only 11th fastest, just slots in behind on the 18.0, unfortunately. A big spread throughout the field so far. But I think here is your championship leader, MPA. We're looking to head into top of the times and take provisional pole. Of course, Present now heading down into the Ravazzas. Is this lap time going to rival that of Liam's or go even quicker than the Mercedes driver? Takes a lovely amount of speed through the second Ravazza and up to the line now for Pesant. Goes second fastest, 4/10 shy of Liam. So that lap by the Mercedes driver is still holding up very nicely indeed. And it's going to be really difficult to beat. Here comes Cook to the line. Not the line, sorry. Up to Aquaminerali. He's next on a lap time. There seems to be a lot of drivers out of sync with one another. Everyone going out at different times, trying to get their best circuit conditions. Not as much traffic as the cars around them. Now for Cook. What is this going to be? The Haas gets out of the way, just sits on the grass ever so slightly. That won't be a distraction. Now heads through the 2 Ravazzas. Can he now rival the front row of the grid, or will he just fall short ever so slightly and go to the second row across the line? He does fall ever so short, and it's by 0.02 of a second that the V-Carb heads to 3rd place. He just misses out on the front row at this midpoint of the session, but there's still plenty of time left. Anything can happen, but for Cook, that'll be utterly disappointing, even though it is the first attempt, and there's much more time to improve. This session does seem to have its ups and downs. Alex not able to find an improvement at the moment. Unfortunately invalidated on the previous lap. The rain is going to be in the race. So there is some weather on our horizons. Now here we have Ben coming up to the line in the Aston Martin. Where's this lap time going to put him? 8th fast. It's a 16.2. From the Aston man. Nice lap time there. You've got more drivers heading out onto the circuit to start their next attempt. I think the special one is on a lap time. Yes, he is. He's up by nearly 1/10.5 through the middle part of the lap. So heading down into the Ravazzas now. This would currently keep him 11th fastest, but if he can find time through the final 2 corners, potentially could see himself up into that top 10. Across the line comes the special one, does find the time to go into the top 10, by only just under 1/10 separating him and Liam Bearder, as that's Thames going to 16th. But of course that's the lap he's backed off from, and he's going to go again as 8 Power doing the same thing. As Massive's on a lap time, could be impeded here by the Ferrari, is impeded by the Ferrari. That's going to be of Scrappy, I think, who had to go off the road. But for Massive, that's going to cost him dearly, and that could be a chunk of time lost, thanks to just having to brake that little bit earlier and make sure he kept out of the way of the Ferrari driver and not to go into the back of the Scuderia, as we now see heading down into the Ravazzas. Is this going to be enough for him? Of course, a first lap time, and enough to see him into at least the top 10. It will be DRS Open heading to the line. Only 16th fastest, an 18.397 from Massive. Certainly going to be some big amount of times in that lap, just due to that impediment. 2 tenths up in the first sector. It is so far for Joker as we see him now make his way into the middle sector, out of the middle sector, splitting into the final part of the lap. Was up by 4 tenths. Could have potentially rivaled Liam for pole, but unfortunately invalidates. Heading over the Variante Alta. Stay on board because he might still finish this lap to see what it could have been. Or it could be just come into the pit lane as Aid Power goes to second. That's a spectacular lap time there from the Kick Sauber. And we did see Joker come into pit lane. What about Newt Panda? Down in the first sector by 2 tenths of a second. Won't be an improvement there as Thames going for improvement. No, into the pit lane. Agent through the final corner, a bucket load of understeer there. I don't think this could be an improvement. Maybe across the line. It is an improvement by 5 tenths of a second. 14th fastest for the Alpine. What about, of course, Newt Panda? Is there anything in the middle? No, has aborted this lap entirely and is going to go again. Liam moves himself up into 8th. So that's a nice lap time there. As that's actually one of the Kick Saubers. That's actually Aid Power, who has gone for a half spin. And with 5 minutes left to go, needs to get back into the pit lane rather quickly, but trying to get out of the way of cars as they make their way throughout this circuit. But let's go on board with Newt Panda, making his way through the Villeneuve chicane. A little bit of understeer there and locking up the right front through the first part of the lap. Down by 2 tenths. Could be really difficult to struggle and wrestle that time back within the lap. As Leo has joined, we'll have a full 20 driver grid here this evening, people, which is great to see. And half a second down, and yeah, Panda's just completely aborted this run. It's not going to go for it or find an improvement. What about Alex, the only driver so far yet to set a lap time? As that was actually someone moving themselves further forward, I think. I think that might have been Swaggy or Joker coming out on an out lap. Swaggy, I think, has just finished the lap. Yes, and then 7th fastest now. But 15.7, still 3 tenths shy of what Newt Panda has just done. But back over to Alex, a 50.3 in the middle sector. Again, a bucket load of understeer through at the final corner. But is it going to be good enough for a top 10? It is good enough for a top 10. A 15.9 from the Williams driver. Very nicely done indeed. And does see himself in that top 10. Liam is actually on a lap time coming up to the line, and the man on provisional pole goes 2 tenths quicker. That time just keeps extending and extending, and we could have just seen the lap. That gives the Mercedes man pole position as Joker now starts an attempt. We did see how much he was improving on his previous attempt, so let's see what Joker can do, and can he rival Liam for pole position, or will he just fall short in the dying embers of qualifying? So as we head through the Villeneuve chicane, a little bit of understeer through there, nowhere near as far up as he was on that previous lap. That might have just been the flow state, and unfortunately when he invalidated, it ruined everything he just worked towards. But now heading into the Piratella, down to 5th gear, bring the car out wide and then down the hill before you head into Aqua Minerale. It's flat through the first part, then you slam on the brakes down to 4th gear, bring the car all the way to the left hand side before switching straight over to the right and into the Variante Alta. Only a tenth and a half up from the McLaren driver. Heading in. Final corner, a little bit of understeer through there as well for Joker. It's all got away on this lap. Maybe the pressure's got to him across the line. Still 3rd fastest. I'm going to be heavily disappointed with that one as Puzant, the championship leader, currently 4th fastest, up by 6 thousandths in the first. But look at that for Aqua Minerale. That was committed. And through the middle sector, up by 2 tenths of a second. Make sure you don't invalidate through the Variante Alta. Hotspot for the invalidations. Got it nicely done as well through that time. A good old hop, skip and a jump before heading down into the Ravatsas, braking around about 75 metres down to third gear over that first apex curve. Run the car out wide. Try and take as much speed as you can through the second without going wide. We'll get a lovely slipstream off the Ferrari in front. DRS open, and he snatches pole position away by 2 thousandths of a second. Pesant has just snatched it away from Liam, who thought he had it all done and all under control. And can Liam get back out in time to respond? I don't think he can. So for Pesant, that could be the lap that sees him snatch pole position, and Liam now retires from the session. Panda is not improving on a lap time. There's cars everywhere on the road. I think our main person to watch in this one will be, of course, Aid Power when they go on their lap. But that came from absolutely nowhere from Pesant. We thought maybe it was a potential for a front row start, that 2 steps up in the middle. But that final sector was absolutely immense and takes pole position away. Massive up to the line. Any improvement there? No, there is not. Rory, no improvement there either. What about Mute? Again, same for him as well. Leo is on a lap time, actually. So let's see what Leo can do. He's one and done kind of lap. His only lap of this session, replacing Jack Reynolds for this evening. Not using the road he possibly could on the turning, but look at the cars. They're all over the road. And it's a big snap at the rear end as well as he exits out of the second Ravatsa up to the line. 8th fastest. Very respectable lap time there for his first lap in the session. And having to deal with all that traffic too. Aid Power. This is the man we all want to watch in this session. Is it going to be enough to snatch it away from Pesant? Is it going to be a lap of all laps as he's up by nearly 2 tenths in the first sector? It could be on. This certainly will be a pullback, and it will be a big blow to Pesant, who has, of course, won the first 2 runs of the season. Someone wide, and that could distract ever so slightly, but it seems it is not as we now head through Aqua Minerale down to 4th gear. Just look at the commitment shown from the Kick Sauber, knowing everything's on the line. Would still be happy with a front row start, but it would have to split the 2 and make it a 1,000th of a second from pole position. A little bit of a slide out of the Aqua Minerale. Cook up into 3rd. That's Harvey to 8th. And now here comes Aid Power through the penultimate corner. A little bit wide and a little bit slow. Same again through the second Ravatsa. And that might have just thrown it all away for the Kick Sauber across the line. He just misses out ever so slightly, and it just was not enough for pole. Look at that. On the front 3 places of the grid, it is a total of 6 thousandths of a second separating the top 3. That is also close here this evening. 4 tenths further back to Cook. The field covered by 4 seconds as well. But unless Agent can do something about it, which I don't think he will. No, goes 15th fastest. It is going to be his teammate Pesant on pole position. And the man leading the championship may just find an opportunity to extend it even more, but took pole position, excuse me, by the barest of margins. What an end to qualifying that was. And for Aid Power, it's just that little mistake through the Ravatsa, which probably cost pole position. Got a feel for Liam as well. We set the lap early, so potentially with the track improvement, could have found another few hundredths, if not a tenth of a second, that previous attempt. But to lose it by 2 thousandths of a second, oh, that must be gut-wrenching when you think you're so far clear of the session. And then someone like Pesant brings out a lap that only just pips yours. It is certainly heartbreaking. So it is Pesant on pole position, and it's Liam in 2nd, Aid Power 3rd, Cook 4th, Joker 5th, 6th is Panda, Dare in 7th, Harvey 8th, Leo 9th, and Alex in 10th. The rest of your grid is Swaggy, Liam Bearder, Special One Ben, Agent Scrappy Must. I did not see the rest of drivers in the session, but we will be heading over to the race. Of course, rain is on the cards. Question is, when does it come in? I think it is going to be a dry start to this event. for these drivers to hang on. Are they going to start on the hards or are they going to start on the mediums? Quickly just telling you the rest you're good. It was Muse, Rory, Thames, and Massive. Rounded out your field. But of course for Puzant, it's an opportunity to go 3-4-3 here this evening. And what utter domination that would be in the opening 3 rounds. But will the likes of Liam or even Aiden fight back? Of course, penalties could be rife in this session too. A track limit heaven is Imola. You're so close to the white lines. It's so easy to pick up an invalidation. But we are heading to the 5 red lights. It's Puzant and Liam on the front row of the grid. 5 red lights are on. And we're underway here in Imola. It's a good start, actually, from the Mercedes driver who tries to draw alongside the Alpine. Just can't get the run heading down into that first corner. Or can he as he looks to the inside line? But no, has to just break earlier. Cook with a good launch from 4th on the grid. Already trying to make pay onto Aid Power in front. Not able to get the move done there. Newt Panda squabbling away with Joker. Able to get that move done on the McLaren. The Mercedes now moves himself up into 5th place. That's someone going wide. That's someone really wide in the background. That's going to be a massive off the road, unfortunately. Harvey had a squirrely exit out of the Villeneuve chicane, dropped to 10th, now make that 11th potentially, as here comes Alex to the inside line of the the McLaren driver, and now the special one looking to make it through as well. The Williams just able to hang on, but goes a little bit deeper. Big slide as well from Darren the Haas in front. That might just box down Alex ever so slightly, and to the inside will go to special one. Just backs out of it, knows it's too risky for the Valiente Alta, and you'll lose too much time. Ben still tried to go for it low on Liam Bearder and actually did get it done quite nicely. It was a spectacular move from Ben, a good old up and under, and his teammate is now on the attack, trying to get around the outside of Alex through the Ravats. There's a frantic opening lap here in Imola, and it seems that Alex has to cede the position. But crucially, the special one has lost the DRS. Let's have a look at the tyres. Everybody is on mediums for everyone, but special one dead, and also Liam. Everybody else all on the medium tyres, and then those 3, of course, on the hards. Special one looking to try claw back some time. Did find some ever so slightly, but that's a little bit wide there from Alex, and that might now allow Harvey to try and swoop around the outside of Tozer. An unorthodox place to get a move done. Can't line the car up nicely. And to be fair, for Liam as well at the front of the field, on a quick note as well, to start on the hards and to nearly out-drag and out-launch Puzant on that opening lap, that's something to be quite happy about. That is what you need to look out for throughout the rest of this race. Of course, when the rain comes, will the mediums have already had to box, or will those hards just run out of wear and it will just be too late in the session? That is going to be the question here this evening. The special one now 1.6 seconds down, won't find any DRS, but now this is the first opportunity for Liam with the DRS. Will he be able to get the move done? It's going to be the rear wing open, gaining and gaining in that slipstream, just trying to get every last millisecond of speed and every last mile an hour. Just can't get the move done in the slipstream, has to wait another day. But Alex is able to get by on the special one. Harvey not close enough for a move, as Alex is our first driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty and fall victim to track limits as Rory gets past Massive. Look at the front of the field, it is 4 cars separated by just under a tenth of a second. So now heading down into Aqua Minerale is Liam, of course, who is still in that 2nd place spot. I think there might have been a move there from Joker on Panda, moving himself up into 5th place spot. And also Alex getting involved with Harvey in the special one. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, for some reason my game is bugging out and making me pause all the time. There we go. Should be all sorted. As actually we've just missed Liam getting past Puzan, and there's Aiden to the inside of Puzan. What a move if he's able to get it done on the both of them. No, Liam's able to get the up and under. Puzan forced out wide. Aiden forced out wide, and Puzan moves himself up into second. The special one now picks up a 3-second time penalty, and Aiden, who went to first, briefly under braking into the first corner, has now dropped down to fourth. There's a yellow flag, and is that for Leo? It might just be as we head through. Actually, no, sorry, that was for Massive. Leo just dropping a little bit further back behind Swaggy, potentially went off as well. But for Aid Power, that was so unfortunate to see, as that's actually going to now mean you have to try and get the move done on Cook as well. But for Liam, he's got such good pace at the moment. He's starting to pull away from Puzan. That gap now 0.7 of a second as we make our way down into the first Ravazza. DRS, of course, will be open for everybody in this top 6. This train consisting of all 6 cars, 5 medium runners, 1 hard runner, and that hard runner is Liam, who is just streaking further and further clear of Puzan at the moment, and has got electrifying pace. As I said, if it was potentially just left that lap a little bit later, could have found some more time and maybe snatched pole position away from the Alpine. But for Liam, this is where it counts. This is where the points are made in qualifying. Not in qualifying, sorry, in the race. Heading through the Acqua Minerale section. Just teetering on the edge of breaking out of DRS. Is there going to be a move to, is there going to be anything made of this from Puzan? Is he going to be able to stay within the DRS range? Oh, it's going to be close. I think ever so slightly was able to. There picks up another 3-second time penalty, really falling foul to the track limits. Asian, of course, Puzan's teammate going for a move there onto Mjois. There's also the special one on Harvey as someone's round in the background. That's Rory. Did get DRS with Puzan. No, Puzan did not get any DRS, but Cook is quite far back as well, as we've actually got Liam Bearder, I think, off the road as well, because that's allowed moves through. And also Agent now moving himself up into 15th. Unfortunately, Rory dropped to the back after that spin up at Acqua Minerale. It all kicked off at once. Now penalties coming in thick and fast, and something's just happened to Muse as Liam Bearder has dropped down a little bit further more. And look at that from Agent round the outside of the Tamburello curve. And he's absolutely... Oh, I thought he just got the move done on Muse. Wasn't able to sprint to the Villeneuve chicane. But was really aggressive with that move. Got the exit he needed out of the Tamburello chicane. Went for that overtake. Just wasn't possible. And a big slide out of Toza. Now potentially invites Liam Bearder to go for a move. No, nothing being made of it there. Grey locking as well, as there's a special one. Getting the move done on Alex. So Alex will have to cede the position. And now potentially come under pressure from Ben, who's up to 12th place. That battle's still going on further back, and I think Agent potentially just forced Muse off the road, and this has now allowed Liam Bearder to go for the move, as actually Joker's got past here on Aiden, who's dropped far back from Cook, so potentially used too much of the tyre in the first part of the stint, and is now dropping back behind Joker, and that's a huge slide for Aid Power. And just about hang on to the car there. Did the Kick Sauber driver to keep it facing in the right direction, and even keeping it in this racing out the barrier. Really struggling with the tyres at the moment is the Sauber driver, as we also saw Ben, I think, get past the special one. Yes, he did. As these drivers are now 5 seconds behind. He's a second behind Leo. But for Cook, he's trying to get closer to Puzan, who's really dropped off the back, especially over the course of this lap. 2.3 seconds is the gap. started at 1.7 at the start of this one, so nearly 7/10 of a second found. Make that 6. Sorry, make that 8 and potentially 9 by the time we finish the lap. Nearly a whole second quicker for Zant is Liam at the moment. Are we going to see a move here, though, from Cook? Or will he just not be close enough? Won't be close enough. New Panda's into pit lane already. Only doing 7 laps on those medium compounded tyres. And wanting to get off them. And going on to another set. So the range surely can't be too far out. Yellow flag in Sector 1. It's for Joker. What has happened to the McLaren driver? It's out of Tamburello. Well, just looking at Panda, our first stopper of the race. Seeing what he just did. And unfortunately there for Joker, he has gone round and then someone else has gone round as well. I think that's Must, who has done something a little bit different. He's gone off at a different place at the same corner though. But unfortunately 2 cars spinning at Tamburello. Ban of 1 lap. And for Joker, that has really ruled him out of some serious point scoring contention. Let's look at that gap now. It really is about a second a lap faster from Liam over Puzant. The rain better be coming soon if you are the Alpine driver, or you're just going to be hemorrhaging more time, even when you do come into the pit lane, as Dare actually gets past Leo. So it does seem those mediums are really starting to struggle. And are we going to see the Hash driver be able to hold on? Heading down that main straight, yes we are, and of course had the DRS that was able to pull away. Ben able to get through as well onto Harvey. He's up into 10th place now. Thames also able to get past Agent in this one. The Rory Must into pit lanes, a yellow flag. That's for Liam. He's now gone around, so it's a span of 2 laps. We've seen both Red Bull cars go around at a different point of Tamburello. Steve just really struggling at the moment is Liam. A lot of these medium runners are going to be struggling with that traction. Now those mediums really do start to hit their breaking point. They start to cliff and lose their performance. It made by Cook once again onto Puzant. Thames was actually able to get past onto Agent through the very anti-outer actually, and has lost about a second to Panda. So Panda got the move done at exactly the right time. Make sure he stayed out of trouble and not lost too much there as Alex and Harvey now come into pit lane. I don't think this rain is going to be coming till much, much later in this race. Back at the front of the field. That gap now 4.6 between Liam and Puzant. Cook starting to fall back ever so slightly as well. Late on the brakes from the V car. You can see the rear end just stepping out ever so slightly. Pushes the limit of that car. And now we see Aiden into pit lane, who has very much been struggling ever since he first got pushed off. And that big moment as well just compiled amount of impact on his race, as this has now really started to die down, this one. Over the course of the past few laps after that frantic action, thoughtfully opening about 8 laps. Yeah, picks up another 3-second time penalty. Panda was actually able to get the jump there on Aid. power, but has gone onto the hard, as the kick sal, but going a little bit longer in this race. Scrappy picks up a 3-second time penalty. The boot as well. He's currently in 15th place, just behind Asian, actually, so there could be a little scrap boiling up between this pair. And there is looking to the outside, potentially. There was Agent just defending the inside, gets it all out of shape all the way through. Tozer drifting through the corner. If this was a drift contest, it would be 10 out of 10 points, and nearly some contact between the pair, heading up the hill into the Piratella. Not close enough for a lunge was Scrappy. Look at that. You could just see the Alpine getting it all wrong out of nearly every corner, sliding all the way through. He really is just drifting his way through. As I say, if it was a drift contest, we'll be getting so many points right now as Ben comes into the pit lane off those mediums. Scrappy having actually to defend from Alex as well. Alex is in battle too, and another big moment for the Alpine of Agent, who elects to dive into pit lane. Scrappy will have the DRS, which will surely help defend from Alex behind, as you can see, heading down that main straight. Actually, no. Alex made his way through, potentially scrapping, letting the Williams driver by, knowing his race is not with Alex, and the pace difference is just too huge, especially being on newer tyres. Into the pit lane now comes Cook as well, so this is an undercut attempt on to, of course, Puzam, who's running second in this race. Onto the hards. You're looking to go to the end or off the pit window. As we now see Liam into the pit lane. Actually, that's a really early stop from those hards. Liam coming into the pits. Sorry about that brief pause. I didn't make sure I had a... There is also Busan into the pit lane too. Ben picks up another 3-second time penalty, but Liam coming in really early. Switch on to those mediums. And the question is, has there been an overtake be made from Puzant, on Cook, on Puzant, and there is on the exit of the pit lane. That was a horrid camera angle. We just got to see that, but Puzant has dropped behind Cook. And will now be looking to push on throughout this race. Potentially try to get past 8PAL, who we also did not mention. He actually got the jump as well, just for all that chaos in the mid-pack, where cars are everywhere. But 8PAL also being able to get the jump on that, on these two in front that were in front of him. He's got a 3-second time penalty now, so that's going to hurt him dearly. And unfortunately for 8PAL, now completely out of podium contention because these guys will catch up rather fast, knowing they're on those fresher tyres. As Dare's on another 3-second time penalty, so let's have a look at the penalties in this race. Dare's on 12. It's 6 actually for Aid Power. Leo on 3. Panda on 6. Swaggy on 3. Alex on 6. 3 for the special one. 6 for Ben. 3 for Joker. 9 for Tomas. 6 for Muse. 3 for Agent. 13 for Scrappy. And then finally 6 for Rory. Rory picks up a 3-second for track limits, and I think that's actually massive going off as well in this one. It is, and it's actually allowed Rory to go straight through. There's now into the pit lane as well. Special one able to get past Alex. These two have been scrapping all race long. Special one and Alex. Special one able to finally get that move done, as we actually see Puzant gets past Cook with the DRS. Nicely done there. And moves himself up into third. Now going to try push on to catch up to Aid Power, which they have done quite nicely so far. That gap now down to 2.1 seconds. It was around about 2.6 by the time Puzant came out of the pit lane. So it's slowly coming down. The Agent picks up another 3-second time penalty. Massive picks up 3 seconds too. Really trying to put some pressure back on Puzant to get that move done. It's a yellow flag. I think that's for Massive again. A special one picks up another 3-second time penalty. Penalties coming in thick and fast. I think, yes, that was for Massive. And he's actually got to get lapped by Liam in a moment. Shows how far back he really is for the rest of this field. As Puzant now sets the fastest lap of the race and brings that gap down to 8 power to 1.9 seconds. A move between the two McLaren drivers. That's Joker getting past his teammate Harvey. Let him through nice and easy. Here's Harvey on the fresher tyres. Is Joker, and is now looking to make his way past now onto Alex, who came in quite a lot earlier than everybody else onto those mediums. And look at that, as easy as you like, Joker makes his way through. We actually see a move there from Puzant onto Aiden. 8 power, he's caught up massively to the back of that kick, Sauber. And is now up into that second place. His aid goes off again. Once again, it's Ambarello. 8 power lights up the rears and goes straight off the road as Panda's in once more. After 10 laps on those mediums, he's going onto the hards. But once again for 8 power, as soon as that pressure slowly starts to form, just seems to swiggle off the road and through that dirty air. And unfortunately, that's brought him 6 seconds behind Cook in this race. Very lucky again to keep the Fart car facing in the right direction. Oh, and he's round at the top of the Valiente Alta. That car just not rotating at all at the moment for Aid Power. And look at that, they're really just sliding all over the place. I think he does have some big issues with some rear tyre overheating. And into the pit lane, speeds into the pit lane for Aid Power. Our first DNF of the race. It all just went horribly wrong on lap 19. The Kick Sauber was just not liking that one at all. As Dare's now getting really close to the back of Swaggy. Goes really wide though through the Villeneuve chicane. Might really affect his attack onto the back of the V-Carb. Now about half a second behind by the time they hit the brakes. Tamburello, of course, still waiting on that rain to potentially come. It is going to be a little bit more overcast heading over into that Tamburello direction. Still nowhere near yet. Is there someone off the road? That's going to be Rory. It is Rory, round in the middle of the road at the Villeneuve chicane. Another spin, unfortunately, for the Haas driver, who actually sees teammate Dare go around the outside. He does dare to go around the outside through Villeneuve. He makes his way up into 5th place on the road. Is that going to be 5th place overall? No, with 12 seconds of penalties, he might still plummet as Rory once again has a big spin through Tozer, and Massive picks up another 3-second time penalty. He's now on to 6. Our driver with the most penalties is Scrappy with 16 as Liam comes into pit lane. And it gets onto a fresh set of the hard compounded tyres. Yellow flag in the first sector. I think that could be for Tamas. I think it might have been for Thames. Leo as well. Now coming to pit lane for a fresh set of the hards. Rory retires from the race. We've had our second retirement. 2 laps. Driver's just throwing in the towel. It's just been too difficult for him. It has been some tricky races for some. Alex able to make his way through an agent now as well. The DRS nicely done from the Williams driver. Actually, that AI is just keeping out of the way. Yes, it is. That nearly could have been an aeroplane crash. Didn't keep out of Alex's way. Ben picks up another 3-second time penalty. That's more misery for him. But look at that top 3, nearly a whole pit stop window ahead of Swaggy. They're 3 of only 5 drivers yet to pick up a penalty in this race. There now gets back past Swaggy with the DRS, heading down into that first corner. That gap between Puzant and Liam, 7 seconds. So I think we are a different winner here this evening unless something drastic happens. A little bit of a slide there for Dare. I don't think Swaggy's going to get close enough for a move either now. No, they are not. Being beard up. Able to just stay in front of Asian. There picks up another 3-second time penalty. Further in front, is that Swaggy round? It is Swaggy round on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. Through goes Joker, who's already back up to 5th. It's been a fantastic drive from him, actually, to recover so well after his early moment. And now Swaggy drops down to 7th, and that gives Dare the breathing room. There's a yellow flag a little bit further along. I think that could have been for or Massive, who have unfortunately had one of their own moments. Actually, here comes Muse onto the back of Massive. Nicely done there as Joker has really flown up to the back of Dare, and he's up into 4th place. Back up to that top 4. Probably as high as he will go unless there is a late safety car. So for Joker, he's now going to just push on, see where he can finish in the race. See what he can do. Swaggy is still close to the back of the special one, actually. Special one could be under a little bit of fire heading down into this first corner. And Swaggy doesn't get past the special one because he comes into pit lane. Switches on to a set of the mediums to take him to the end of this race. Dare picks up another 3 seconds. How many is that now for Dare? He's surely threatening qualification limits. Same with Scrappy as well. They're both on 19 and 18 seconds respectively. If they keep going on this rate, they might be qualified for penalty. Cook's been absolutely dropped as well from Puzant, who's actually really started to close up to the back of Liam. That gap was 7 seconds, now 3.4. Liam now comes into pit lane, probably to go into a set of the hards, or even another set of mediums to the end. But for Cook, he's really fallen off the back of Puzant. He has not had strong pace. Liam's gone on to them softs. I know there can be rain on the horizons, but softs seem to be a bit of a rogue shout for the Mercedes man. I don't think that will be the right side to go on, as a special one picks up another 3 second time penalty for him as well. Let's see what Liam can do if he can hang on to that tyre, because at the moment it does not look like it's going to rain. Most drivers who have penalties are on 9 seconds. That's the likes of Ben, his teammate special one, Alex, and then Agent Muse, Dams, and Massive as. Liam has found nearly a second already. Look, he really is flying on the early laps are low soft, but to take them 12 laps. Oh no, it's much less than 12 laps. We're on lap 26 of 32. I got my maths completely wrong there, unfortunately. Still, to take them for so long, and these drivers on the hards might just stick this one out. I think he might have messed up on the strategy front here. I think he came in too early off those hards. And that is what ruined Liam's opportunity at this race victory, I feel. Gap 16.2. There's plenty of time to claw back. Those 16 seconds. Still has 5 laps in this race. But you never know, as Dare now comes into the pit lane. Better softs for him. No, it's instead of the me. I don't think Liam will catch up though, because those softs do tend to hit the cliff. Probably around about 3 to 4 laps into their stint. Because they're just so heavy on the wear. They degrade so fast. They really are a 1 lap tyre on this game. For Liam, yes, he may find time now, but I just don't. I think he will still keep finding time on the 2 in front, because of course they've got heavy tyre wear. But it just will slowly get to a point where it's either 2 to 3 tenths of a second. Got now 12.2. We'll get the time intervals up. We'll actually see what the difference is in lap time between Liam, Pleasance, and Cook. Right, it's down to 3rd gear. For Pleasant, it's now leading the way, looking to make it 3-4-3. 3-4 in the middle for Pleasant, 51.7, so nearly 2 seconds quicker is the Mercedes man. Across the line, it's going to be a 9, we'll call it a 1 minute 20 for Pleasant. For Cook, it is a 20.6, and for Liam, it is going to be a 17.5. So 3 seconds faster a lap than Cook. About 2.5 than Pleasant. Is it going to be enough? Are these tyres going to be able to hold on enough for him to be able to keep up this rate of improvement over the cars in front? Of course, it's still a total of nearly 15 seconds to Pleasant out in front. And he doesn't have the laps to bring that down. He doesn't have 7 laps. But for Pleasant, unless he punctures near the end, it is going to be another race victory in the bag for him. Special one, able to get past Harvey. Up into 9th place goes the Aston Martin. Dare picks up another 3-second time penalty. Now 21 seconds worth of time penalties. Liam could potentially get Cook by the time this race is done. We're on lap 30 of 32 now. Only 3 more laps to go. Asian just in front of Liam at the moment. Like he picks up another 3-second time penalty. Has Scrappy picked up any more since we last checked? No, he has not. So Dare is now your new highest penalty scorer. A gap now 5.2 between Cook and Liam. It could be a battle for second on that final lap of this race. It was just Pesant was too far away, had too much of a good stint, and really brought that gap down to Liam. And that's what's potentially just made it 3 for 3 for the Alpine. Back marker in front of him here. 3 goes on the Ferrari. That will be of Scrappy. .6 is the gap. I just don't think he's going to get close enough with only 1.5 laps to go, really, here for Liam. We actually see Dare getting past New Panda, but not ready for anything. With 21 seconds of penalties, he's got to plummet straight down that field, and Harvey might actually move himself up into that top 6. How many penalties the cars in front of him have got? But on to the final lap, it does go Pesant. Liam, yeah, he's just going to fall too far short. He went rogue with the strategy. He came in for the softs. I think he was hoping the rain would come. Unfortunately, it has not. And I think those tyres are certainly starting to fail him now. 6 laps old. He's just going to bring this one home now. But at the front of the field, I think we all need to look and applaud one man indeed. He took pole position by the barest of margins in qualifying. It was 2,000 separating him and Liam, who dominated majority of this race. Liam got in front and did not look back until he had to come into pit lane for those soft compounder tyres, and Pesant has made his own luck. It's the right place, right time. It was the right strategy call from the Alpine. In the faces of adversity, he is inevitable. It's going to be 3 for 3 for the Alpine as he crosses the line. Pesant wins again here in OWLS Racing League, and he adds an extra 25 points to the tally. He'll be 75 points. He's got maximum points in the opening 3 rounds of the season, has the Alpine driver, and he really is that man you look to whenever you want a race victory. Luck does certainly go his way this season. He is certainly a driver to reckon with. He is inevitable. He will come out on top. Lovely stuff there from Pesant. Really well done from Cook as well. He started 4th on the grid, up into 2nd. Heartbreak for Liam. We're really sorry for the Mercedes man. Did everything right until he had to come into pit lane. And unfortunately for him, he saw himself drop out of that race victory. He won. He would have won if he didn't come into pit lane. It was so close. I think there was actually a drag race to the line between Alex and Liam. There it was. I don't know who got it on the line. but for Liam, he could have stopped the streak, but it still continues for Pesant. The Alpine reigns supreme once more. He really is the man on the mission. He's the man of the moment. And he is taking all the headlines. But your finishing order from today's Imola Grand Prix, it was Pesant who took the victory from Cook in second and the third, and then Joker, a good recovery from his earlier spin to finish in fourth. Then it's Leo in fifth, nice try from ninth, and then Swaggy in 11th, a good drive. From 6th, nice drive from 11th. New Panda in 7th, Special One in 8th, Harvey 9th, and Dare did still end up in the points by 2 seconds over Ben. It's Liam Bearder and Alex. That was a super close photo finish at the line. It was 15 seconds that added Alex's time. I think he actually pipped Liam by 1,000th of a second if there was no penalties involved in that one. It's Agent, Scrappy, Muse, James, and then the rest of your order. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all for this evening. I'll quickly run you through your your calendar, should I say, for the rest of the season. As you can see, next time out, we head to the Principality. We head to Monte Carlo for round 4. We head to Suzuka for a sprint. Then it's Spa for round 6. Austria for round 7. Round 8 is Singapore. Silverstone round 9. And to finish it off, we have a sprint at Vegas for round 10 on the 8th of March. All 8 o'clock local time. UK time. Yeah. Central European time. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring you the action this evening. Of course, thanks, OWLS. Thanks to the drivers as well, putting on the show. And also thank you to Driveline Media too for making this all possible for you guys at home. But on that note, thank you all very much for watching. Who can stop Pesant? Will he be stopped next week in Monaco? That is going to be the question on everybody's lips. Is he going to make it 4 from 4? Will we finally get another driver to that top step? Thank you for watching. We'll just see you in the next one. Head over to the Principality for what will be an interesting 2-stop race. Thank you. Goodbye.